Have you ever found yourself doing something that, just a few years ago, you would have sworn you'd never do as you grew older? Perhaps you've caught yourself complaining about nearly everything, from the weather to the latest trends, or maybe you've started to pull back from social gatherings without even realizing it. If you're over 70, you might already be noticing small shifts in your behavior that you never anticipated. These subtle changes, which might seem insignificant at first, can slowly begin to shape your everyday life, and if you're not careful, they can quietly influence your relationships and overall happiness. In this video, we're going to explore 10 common yet surprising behaviors that many seniors unknowingly adopt as they get older. These behaviors, while often unintentional, can make us appear distant, irritable, or even disconnected from the people who matter most. From neglecting basic hygiene to expecting respect without offering it in return, these habits don't just impact how others perceive us, they also influence how we see ourselves. But why should you stay tuned until the very end? Some of these behaviors might be the reason you're feeling more isolated or misunderstood than you might realize. The last two behaviors I'll reveal could completely change the way you view aging, allowing you to reflect on how you've been navigating this stage of life. The reality is that recognizing these patterns is the first step toward making positive changes. And that's exactly why it's important to watch until the end. By understanding these habits and working to break them, you'll not only improve your relationships but also enhance your emotional well-being, physical health, and overall happiness as you continue to age gracefully. Let's dive into these surprising behaviors, which could be quietly impacting your quality of life. Stick with me, because the tips I'll share at the end could make all the difference. If you haven't already subscribed, I recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support means a lot, and if you found this video helpful, you can help me spread these valuable lessons by liking and sharing them with others. If you like the topic of today's video, please leave a comment with the number 1. If not, feel free to leave a 0 to let me know what you think and how I can improve. I appreciate your feedback. Now, let's get started. 1. Lack of personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is an issue that many older adults face, often due to a variety of factors that can make simple daily tasks feel overwhelming. For example, physical limitations such as chronic pain, fatigue, or mobility issues can make it difficult to maintain a routine that once felt automatic. Seniors like Mary, who is in her early 70s and struggles with arthritis, may find it increasingly hard to shower regularly or brush her teeth properly. Additionally, there's often a mental component at play. Factors like depression, loneliness, or the belief that they no longer need to care about their appearance can lead to a lack of motivation. For some, the idea of grooming or dressing neatly may no longer seem as important. This neglect can manifest in several ways, like showering less frequently, not changing clothes regularly, or skipping regular dental care. The results are often more than just cosmetic. For instance, body odor can become an issue, which, while unpleasant for both the individual and those around them, can also lead to feelings of self-consciousness or isolation. A messy, unkempt appearance can inadvertently signal to others that someone isn't taking care of themselves, which may further reinforce negative feelings or stereotypes about aging. But the consequences go beyond social discomfort. Poor hygiene can lead to serious health risks, especially for seniors who may already be living with chronic conditions or dealing with reduced mobility. Neglecting basic hygiene increases the risk of infections, particularly skin and urinary tract infections, which can complicate existing medical issues. This can become even more dangerous for those with compromised immune systems, like John, a 78-year-old with diabetes, who may be more susceptible to developing infections from something as simple as not properly washing his hands or changing out of wet clothes. Taking care of personal hygiene goes far beyond just looking good. It's essential for both physical and emotional well-being. Maintaining good hygiene helps to prevent diseases and infections, boosts self-esteem, and provides a greater sense of autonomy. For seniors like Mary or John, keeping up with basic hygiene practices can make them feel more in control of their lives, more capable of living independently, and more connected to the world around them. Because of these factors, both seniors and their caregivers must stay mindful of hygiene. If a senior is struggling, seeking assistance from a health professional or caregiver may be necessary to ensure proper hygiene practices are followed. Sometimes, a little extra help in the form of reminders, assistance with bathing, or arranging transportation to the doctor can make all the difference in helping an older adult maintain their independence while still caring for their body. 2. Complaining about everything. As the years pass, it's easy to fall into the habit of constantly complaining. It often starts with a small complaint about something minor, like the weather being too hot or the traffic being too heavy. Over time, though, these small gripes can build up into a pattern of dissatisfaction. Before we know it, we're criticizing everything: the government, new technology we don't understand, the behavior of younger generations, and even the food at restaurants we visit. For example, Tom, a 73-year-old retiree in Florida, might find himself regularly complaining about the new changes in local laws, how much harder it is to use his smartphone, or how today's youth seem disrespectful. At first, these frustrations might seem harmless, but if left unchecked, they can evolve into an ongoing habit that colors our entire outlook on life. What starts as a few harmless complaints can soon turn into an overwhelmingly negative attitude, where everything around us seems to be a problem. This habit can be draining, not just for ourselves but for those around us as well. Tom's daughter, Sarah, might start to feel uncomfortable visiting him because, no matter what they talk about, he finds a way to complain. Similarly, his grandchildren may begin to avoid spending time with him because they feel like they can't enjoy a simple conversation without hearing his constant dissatisfaction. The negativity becomes like a cloud that hangs over every interaction, which can be emotionally exhausting for everyone involved. It's perfectly normal to feel frustrated or disillusioned as we age, especially after experiencing the many challenges life throws at us. But if we're not careful, complaining can become a reflex, a way of coping with frustration that ends up creating more negativity in our lives. What we might not realize is that this constant state of complaint can alienate the people we care about, pushing them further away. Instead of sharing joyful experiences and building strong connections, we find ourselves in a cycle of negativity. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This doesn't mean we should ignore real problems or concerns, but it's important to recognize when complaining becomes excessive. Often, the most helpful thing we can do is to accept what we cannot change and focus on the positives in our lives. By practicing gratitude and finding things to appreciate, even small joys like a good cup of coffee or a sunny day, we shift our focus away from the things that frustrate us. This not only helps to improve our mental health, but also strengthens our relationships. When Tom chooses to highlight the things he enjoys, like a nice family dinner or the joy of playing games with his grandchildren, Sarah, and the kids will feel more connected to him, and their visits will feel lighter and more enjoyable. By reducing the amount we complain and focusing more on what we can be grateful for, we foster a more positive and uplifting environment, which can greatly enhance our relationships and emotional well-being. 3. Taking control of conversations with wisdom and experience. As we grow older, the wisdom and life experience we've accumulated often make us feel like we have valuable insights to share. After all, we've lived through a lot: the challenges, triumphs, and lessons that younger generations may not yet understand. It's only natural to want to pass on this knowledge and advice, but sometimes the desire to share these lessons can inadvertently turn us into conversation dominators. For example, Carol, a 76-year-old grandmother, might feel compelled to share her experiences whenever her grandchildren visit. She wants to pass down what she's learned over the years, whether it's about relationships, career advice, or the importance of saving money. While these stories are often packed with wisdom, if Carol takes control of the conversation every time, her grandchildren might start to feel unheard or dismissed. When Carol interrupts them to share her own experiences, it can unintentionally send the message that their thoughts and opinions don't matter as much. This is a common issue for many seniors, and it can damage relationships, especially with younger family members. Take Steve, a 68-year-old father, who often finds himself cutting off his children mid-sentence to give advice or share a story about his past. While his intentions are good, his children might begin to feel discouraged, like their thoughts aren't valued. Over time, this can lead to less meaningful interactions, and younger family members may begin to feel like there's little room for them to contribute to conversations. In the long run, this can demotivate them from trying to share their ideas, making the family dynamic more one-sided and disconnected. It's important to remember that communication should be a dialogue, not a monologue. A healthy conversation involves give and take, with both parties actively listening and engaging with each other. Instead of simply waiting for a pause to insert our own opinions, we should create an open space where others, especially younger family members, feel comfortable sharing their thoughts. Asking questions, showing genuine interest in what others are saying, and letting the conversation flow naturally can foster a deeper connection. For instance, instead of immediately jumping in with her advice, Carol could ask her grandchildren about their plans for the future or how school is going. This not only allows them to share their thoughts, but it also creates a space for her to offer her wisdom when they ask for it, making her advice feel more like a gift rather than a lecture. By encouraging this kind of two-way communication, Carol builds stronger relationships and shows her grandchildren that their voices are just as valuable as hers. In addition, by listening to the ideas and perspectives of younger generations, we can enrich our understanding of the world. Society is always evolving, and new technologies, social norms, and values can offer us fresh perspectives. When we embrace these changes by listening and learning from others, we not only strengthen our relationships but also continue to grow ourselves. Letting go of the need to control conversations and focusing on mutual respect and curiosity can make our interactions more fulfilling and help us stay connected with those we care about. 4. Demanding respect based on age alone. As we get older, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that respect should be given to us simply because of the years we've lived. After all, we've experienced more, learned from our mistakes, and accumulated wisdom that can be invaluable. It's tempting to believe that our age alone commands respect, especially in cultures where older generations are often revered for their life experiences. But here's the truth. Respect isn't something that's automatically earned just because of the number of birthdays we've had. It's something that's earned through our actions, our words, and how we treat others, regardless of their age. Take, for example, Bill, a 75-year-old retired engineer. Bill has seen and experienced a lot in his lifetime, and he's proud of the lessons he's learned along the way. However, when his adult children come to visit, he finds himself demanding that they listen to his opinions on everything, from politics to personal life choices. While Bill's experiences are valuable, his approach of insisting on respect based solely on his age can cause tension, especially when it feels like he's not respecting his children's autonomy or their perspectives. When we demand respect without showing respect in return, it creates an imbalance in relationships. For instance, younger people may begin to feel pressured, misunderstood, or even resentful when there is no room for them to express their own opinions. For example, Bill's daughter, Emily, might start to avoid family conversations, feeling like her thoughts are dismissed simply because they're not in line with her father's experience. This can also lead to frustration in other areas of life, such as friendships or workplace dynamics, where age doesn't automatically equate to having the final say. Respect is a two-way street. It's earned through active listening, empathy, and treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their age or life stage. When we take the time to listen to others, especially the younger generations, and validate their thoughts and feelings, we create a more positive environment where respect flows both ways. Instead of demanding respect, we should focus on demonstrating it by asking for others' opinions, acknowledging their experiences, and showing appreciation for their unique perspectives. While our life experience is undoubtedly valuable, it doesn't give us the right to impose our views on others or expect special treatment based on age alone. By embracing the idea that respect must be mutual, we can foster more meaningful relationships and create an atmosphere where everyone feels heard and valued. This balance is key to maintaining harmony in both family dynamics and broader social interactions. At the end of the day, True respect comes from the understanding that no one is entitled to it. It's something that must be cultivated through how we treat others. The most fulfilling relationships are those where respect is mutual and continuously nurtured through kindness, empathy, and active engagement. 5. Minimizing others' experiences. As we grow older and accumulate decades of lived experiences, it's easy to fall into the trap of dismissing or minimizing the struggles of those around us, especially the younger generations. After all, we've faced our challenges, overcome obstacles, and learned countless lessons along the way. With all this knowledge and experience, it can sometimes be hard to relate to the concerns of younger people. We may catch ourselves thinking, "I went through something much harder than that," or "they don't know how easy they have it." But when we minimize the experiences of others, we inadvertently harm our relationships, sometimes without even realizing it. Take Linda, a 72-year-old woman who's been through a lot in her life. She raised 3 kids, dealt with the loss of a spouse, and weathered financial hardships. When her granddaughter, Katie, talks about the stress of preparing for college exams, Linda might brush it off, saying, "When I was your age, I had to work 3 jobs and take care of my siblings. You don't know what real stress is." While Linda's experiences are undeniably valuable, dismissing Katie's feelings makes it harder for her to feel heard and understood. Katie might begin to feel like her concerns are unimportant or that she's not being taken seriously, which can create a rift in their relationship. Minimizing others' experiences is often rooted in a desire to share our wisdom or to help others avoid the struggles we've faced. But this approach can backfire. When we minimize someone else's feelings or challenges, we deny them the opportunity to express themselves and feel validated. It's essential to remember that every stage of life comes with its own unique set of challenges, and what may seem trivial to us could be a very real and significant issue for someone else. For instance, Linda might think that Katie's anxiety about exams is just a phase, but for Katie, it's a moment of serious stress and self-doubt. By acknowledging Katie's feelings and offering support instead of comparison, Linda shows that she values her granddaughter's emotional experience, even if she doesn't fully understand it. This act of validation strengthens their bond, creating a deeper connection and an atmosphere of respect. Instead of comparing our struggles to those of others, it's crucial to offer empathy and understanding. Validating someone's feelings, even if their concerns seem small to us, shows that we care about their emotional well-being. It creates a sense of trust and respect that can bridge the generational gap. When we listen with an open heart and without judgment, we allow others to share their experiences and feel truly heard. At the end of the day, our life experiences have given us a lot of wisdom, but they don't make us experts in the lives of others. Every person's journey is different, and by acknowledging the significance of others' experiences, we create stronger, more supportive relationships that are built on empathy and mutual respect. 6. Criticizing the youth too much. As we age, it's not uncommon for us to become critical of younger generations, particularly when it comes to their lifestyle choices, values, or even their approach to technology. It's natural to want to share the wisdom we've gained over the years, especially when we see younger people making decisions that seem risky or misguided to us. We may find ourselves thinking things like, "When I was their age, we worked hard for everything we had," or "They don't know how easy they have it these days." While these thoughts often come from a place of care or concern, a desire to protect or guide the younger generation, constantly criticizing them can create distance and even build walls between us. Take Frank, a 78-year-old retiree who spends a lot of time with his adult children and grandchildren. He often criticizes their choice to spend too much time on their phones or their preference for quick takeout meals over home-cooked dinners. He believes that they're missing out on the values of hard work and personal responsibility that were so important in his upbringing. While his intentions are rooted in wanting the best for them, his constant disapproval only serves to frustrate his children and grandchildren, who may feel like they can never live up to his standards. Criticizing the younger generation too often creates an atmosphere of tension and resentment. Instead of fostering an open dialogue where both sides can share their experiences and learn from one another, it leads to an environment of distrust and misunderstanding. For example, Frank's daughter, Emily, might start to feel like her father doesn't appreciate her choices or respect her way of life, which could make their relationship feel strained. In some cases, this tension can even cause young people to withdraw from conversations, avoiding difficult topics for fear of being judged or criticized. It's important to remember that every generation faces its own set of challenges, and just as we learned valuable lessons from our experiences, today's youth are navigating a world with new circumstances, pressures, and technologies that we didn't have to face. Young people, just like we were in the past, are in the process of figuring things out, building their paths and making their own mistakes along the way. What seems like a bad decision to us might be a necessary step in their personal growth. Instead of constantly pointing out what we think they're doing wrong, the best way to support younger generations is with patience and understanding. Offering advice when asked, rather than imposing our opinions, helps create a space where they feel safe to explore and learn. Frank, for example, might find it more effective to share his own experiences of how hard work and home-cooked meals contributed to his happiness, without making his children feel like they need to follow the same path. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. At the end of the day, the best intergenerational relationships are built on mutual respect and a willingness to understand each other's perspectives. Criticism and condemnation may come from a place of love, but they can often backfire, creating walls instead of bridges. When we listen to and support the younger generation, offering advice when needed and respecting their individuality, we create an environment where everyone feels valued. This opens the door to learning from one another and growing together, rather than remaining stuck in a cycle of judgment. 7. Living in the past. As we age, it's common to feel a deep connection to our past. The memories we've accumulated over the years, the people we've loved, the milestones we've reached, the moments we've cherished, are invaluable. They shape who we are, and it's natural to look back on these experiences with fondness. However, some older adults, often without realizing it, can find themselves clinging too tightly to these memories. This can lead to a tendency to idealize the past, elevating it to a point where it becomes the sole reference point for how we view the world and make decisions. While it's important to value our history, excessive attachment to it can create challenges in navigating the present and adapting to the future. Take Jack, a 74-year-old widower, who often reminisces about his younger years. He talks about his experiences with his late wife, his career, and the way things used to be, a time when, in his mind, everything seemed simpler and better. Jack's nostalgia can sometimes cause him to dismiss modern conveniences or new ways of thinking. For example, he refuses to use a smartphone, insisting that he's fine with his landline and that the old ways work just fine. While Jack's memories are precious, his reluctance to embrace new technologies or ways of life can create a disconnect between him and his family, especially his grandchildren, who live in a world where technology is an essential part of daily life. When we become overly focused on the past, we risk missing out on the opportunities and experiences the present and future have to offer. It can lead to frustration, not only for ourselves but also for those around us. For instance, Jack's daughter, Lisa, might feel frustrated that her father doesn't seem interested in her life or the world they live in now. She might feel that Jack is stuck in an idealized version of the past, unable to appreciate the present or adapt to the modern world. This can create tension in relationships, especially when younger generations feel misunderstood or undervalued. The world is constantly evolving, with new ideas, technologies, and ways of life shaping the future. To live fully and maintain meaningful connections with others, we need to remain flexible and open-minded. It's not about abandoning our memories. They are an important part of our identity, but about finding a balance. While we should cherish the past, we should also stay engaged with the present and remain open to new experiences. By embracing change, we allow ourselves to grow and adapt, taking advantage of opportunities that arise in a rapidly changing world. For example, Jack might find that learning to use a tablet or video call his grandchildren could bring him closer to them, helping him stay involved in their lives even from a distance. Adapting to the modern world doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means finding ways to integrate the wisdom of our experiences with the new possibilities that technology and society offer. Maintaining an openness to the present can enhance our relationships, our well-being, and our ability to embrace the joys of aging. In the end, living in the past can keep us stuck in a place where we no longer feel connected to the world around us. But when we allow ourselves to appreciate our memories while also staying open to the future, we can continue to grow and thrive, and experience the full richness of life, no matter our age. 8. Rejecting help with aging. As we grow older, we often find ourselves facing new challenges, from memory loss and mobility issues to difficulties with basic daily tasks like cooking or cleaning. These obstacles are a natural part of aging, but for many seniors, asking for help can feel like a difficult admission. The desire to maintain independence is deeply ingrained in our culture, and for some, relying on others can feel like a loss of dignity. This is especially true for older adults who have always been self-sufficient, like George, a 78-year-old retiree who has prided himself on being able to manage his household for decades. As George's health begins to decline, he finds it harder to do things he used to take for granted, like getting out of bed in the morning or taking care of household chores. Despite this, he resists asking for help, fearing that it will mean giving up control over his life. For many older adults, the idea of accepting help, whether it's from a family member, a friend, or a professional caregiver, can feel like a threat to their independence. The fear of becoming a burden on loved ones or losing the ability to take care of themselves can lead them to refuse assistance, even when it's needed. In George's case, he refuses to let his daughter, Emily, help with grocery shopping, even though he struggles to carry the bags up the stairs. He insists that he's fine on his own, even as his physical limitations become more apparent. This reluctance to accept help is often tied to the fear of being seen as weak or dependent. For George, admitting that he needs help feels like acknowledging a loss of control, something he's not ready to face. It's common for seniors to worry that accepting assistance will diminish their sense of worth or make them feel vulnerable. They might also worry that their family will see them as a burden or that they'll lose their autonomy. This can create a complex emotional struggle where the desire for independence collides with the practical need for assistance. However, the reality is that rejecting help can have serious consequences for both emotional and physical health. When seniors like George refuse help, they risk exacerbating existing health problems or even creating new ones. Tasks that once seemed simple, like carrying groceries, getting dressed, or even taking medications on time, can become overwhelming. The lack of help can lead to dangerous situations, such as falls or accidents, and can also prevent seniors from following important medical advice. For example, if George refuses help with remembering to take his medication, his health could deteriorate more quickly. Additionally, rejecting help can strain family relationships. Emily, who wants to help her father but is constantly met with resistance, may begin to feel frustrated and helpless. She might start to feel like her efforts are in vain, which could lead to tension and emotional distance. The constant rejection of assistance can make loved ones feel as if they're not needed or that their support is unwelcome, even though their intentions are rooted in love and care. It's important for both seniors and their caregivers to recognize that accepting help doesn't make someone weak or incapable. It simply means they are allowing others to share in the responsibility of ensuring their well-being. By accepting assistance, George could not only make his life easier but also enhance his relationships with his family. When we allow others to support us, we open the door to deeper connections, fostering an environment where independence and support can coexist. In the end, seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom and self-awareness. It's about recognizing when we need assistance and being willing to accept it for the sake of our health and happiness. Taking the step to ask for help when needed can improve the quality of life for seniors, ensure their safety, and strengthen their bonds with loved ones. 9. Social isolation. As we grow older, social isolation can gradually become a painful and concerning reality. Many seniors experience significant life changes, such as retirement, the loss of loved ones, and physical limitations that make it harder to stay active and engaged in social activities. These changes can create a natural reduction in social interactions, leaving some seniors feeling more isolated. For example, Linda, a 72-year-old woman who retired last year, finds that her social circle has dwindled. Her friends from work have moved on to different phases of their lives, and with her mobility issues, she struggles to get out and visit them. Although Linda enjoys the peace of her own home, she's begun to notice how lonely she feels, especially during the long afternoons when there's no one to talk to. For some older adults, isolation is a choice, one that may stem from a reluctance to reach out or a belief that it's too late to make new connections. Linda, for example, feels hesitant to join social groups or attend events because she believes her peers are either too busy or too different from her. As a result, she finds herself spending more time alone, and while she might enjoy solitude at first, over time, the emotional void it creates begins to take a toll. Social isolation can have profound effects on both mental and physical health. The absence of regular social interaction can lead to a range of psychological issues, including depression, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness. When seniors like Linda don't have regular contact with others, they can begin to feel disconnected from the world around them. For instance, the lack of social support makes it harder to deal with daily challenges, such as managing health issues or navigating changes in routine. Without someone to talk to about their struggles, seniors may feel like they're facing everything alone, which can intensify negative feelings. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Moreover, social isolation often leads to cognitive decline. Seniors who are isolated have fewer opportunities to engage in activities that stimulate their minds, such as playing games, having conversations, or participating in group activities. Activities like these are crucial for maintaining brain health and keeping cognitive functions sharp. Without mental stimulation, memory loss can accelerate, and seniors may find it harder to stay engaged with the world around them. Linda, for example, might begin to forget appointments, struggle with remembering recent events, or find it difficult to engage in meaningful conversations due to the lack of practice. The absence of social engagement can also decrease motivation for self-care. When isolated, seniors may feel that there's no reason to take extra care of their appearance, follow through on medical appointments, or maintain a healthy lifestyle. This lack of motivation can lead to a downward spiral, where neglecting self-care worsens the quality of life, making it even harder to re-engage with the world. Linda might find herself skipping meals or not taking her prescribed medications, simply because there's no one around to remind her or to encourage her to keep up with her health routines. It's important to recognize that social connection is essential for aging well. While solitude can offer moments of peace, too much isolation can harm both emotional and physical well-being. To improve their quality of life, seniors like Linda can benefit from reaching out to others, whether by joining a local senior center, taking up a hobby that involves group participation, or simply making an effort to stay in touch with family and friends. By finding new ways to connect, seniors can combat the negative effects of isolation, boost their mental health, and enrich their lives. 10. Not adapting to change. As we age, we often find ourselves facing a world that seems to be constantly changing. New technologies, social norms, and ways of living can feel overwhelming, especially if we've spent much of our lives accustomed to a different way of doing things. While it's natural to feel resistant to change, after all, we've lived through decades of stability in certain areas. Refusing to adapt can create disconnects with those around us, especially with younger generations who may embrace these changes more readily. Take George, a 76-year-old man who's never been comfortable with technology. He has a basic flip phone but refuses to upgrade to a smartphone, believing they're unnecessary and too complicated. As a result, George struggles to stay in touch with his grandchildren, who prefer texting or video calls over traditional phone calls. When they visit him, they often have to help him navigate new devices, and he grows frustrated because he doesn't see the value in learning. This resistance to technological change puts distance between him and his grandchildren, who find it difficult to connect with him in a way that feels natural to them. Similarly, George's reluctance to adapt extends to social changes. He often comments that people are too politically correct these days, or that the world is becoming too fast-paced. While George's feelings are understandable, his dismissive attitude toward the way society has evolved can create tension in his relationships with others. His children, who have embraced the changing world, may feel frustrated that their father doesn't share their values or understand their perspectives. Over time, this lack of adaptability can lead to isolation, as George finds himself increasingly out of sync with the world around him. The truth is that life is constantly evolving, and being able to adapt to those changes is crucial for staying connected to the people we love. It's not about abandoning our core values or forgetting where we came from, but rather about staying open to the possibilities that change brings. This might mean learning how to use new technology, embracing new forms of communication, or simply accepting that social norms will shift as time goes on. By making an effort to adapt, we show the younger generations that we're willing to meet them halfway, creating stronger connections and reducing the gap that can form between generations. Adapting to change also means embracing new opportunities for personal growth. For instance, George could learn how to use a smartphone to connect with his grandchildren, explore online communities, or even try new activities that he never considered before. By keeping an open mind, we continue to grow, both personally and socially, and we avoid getting stuck in a world that no longer exists. Embracing change, whether technological or social, is a powerful way to maintain relationships, stay mentally engaged, and keep our lives rich with new experiences. So, there you have it, 10 surprising behaviors that many of us may unknowingly adopt as we age. We've discussed everything from the importance of maintaining hygiene and embracing change to staying connected with loved ones and adapting to new ways of life. Each of these behaviors can significantly impact our relationships, health, and overall happiness. Now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Is there something that stood out to you or something you're going to start practicing in your own life? Please share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss more valuable insights like this. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue bringing you more content to improve your life as you age gracefully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.